everybody, and welcome back to Cinemaniacs. We're your hosts. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kiana, and we have returned.
Today, we'll be taking you through unexpected horror hit Sinners.
And then we'll have a mind through the script of the Minecraft movie and the, of course, chicken jockey trend. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Perfect. Love it. All right. Let's get into Sinners then.
We get into it.
Welcome back to Cinemaniacs, folks. And before we get into that, we have a little chat about what we've been up to lately, because it's been a while since we've recorded a podcast. So, Keanu, how's life? What's going on with you?
Life's been good, man. It's I feel like I've been everywhere. I've been in 3 different states in the last week.
What was the third one?
For a road trip mostly. Oh, so New South Wales, Victoria, and the ACT went through Canberra.
Very nice.
on the way back. So we're back. Did some cool band videography stuff on my travels. So that was all hip and happening. That was good fun. What about you, good sir? Where have you been?
No, I've been busy as well. Nothing as cool as filming the incredible Neko band. I gotta say, you guys should really check him out on Spotify. Our very good friend Alex and his 2 very talented bandmates are definitely worth your time. I have started a new job. I'm now working as a paralegal along with the cinema and uni. Hence why I've been busy. It's good. It's good. It's just a lot to learn, but this was always the plan, so I don't know why I'm surprised. I've actually tried to still stay relatively active in watching movies. But for about the entire month of April, I didn't watch anything until the very end. We watched Minecraft together, which we haven't made a podcast about until now. Then 3 weeks later we watched Sinners together, and then at home I had a go at Hereditary, which was pretty good, A24 horror film, but didn't blow me away. Then what did blow me away was Star Wars 3 in cinemas, something I never thought I would get to see, and I have this very cool poster.
Keep the poster. Yeah,
I know, right? It was great. And then very recently I watched Us, which I actually hated. That director's meant to be good. Maybe I just didn't understand the film, but I really didn't scare me at all. Have you watched any movies lately aside from those?
I usually do what I always do, and that's stay in the safety bubble of what I already recognize as very good films. So went on a little I don't think it's the first time I've done this, but I think I went on a little crime thriller run with The Godfather, with Casino, with Goodfellas, a bit of Scorsese in there. Just love those movies. They're well established as all-time greats, and for good reason. They're just amazing.
Yeah, they are absolutely great movies. I think we'll leave that there then, and we'll be back after the break for an in-depth discussion of Sinners. See you then, folks.
See you then.
Very nice. All right. Do you want to lead us in? Be like, hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We're about to be talking about Sinners. Say what you want, and then Alex will take you through the plot. All right, you ready?
Welcome back to Cinemaniacs, folks. For our first segment, we are looking at. Oh boy, this is a absolute wild card of a movie, as far as I'm concerned. That is Ryan Coogler's 2025 film. 2025, yes.
Yeah, 2025.
That is Sinners, ladies and gentlemen, the vampire horror supernatural musical thriller drama.
Everything.
Hence wild card.
So Sinners, like Kenneth says, is a 2025 American horror film. It was written by the maestro, Ryan Coogler, who is now free from the prison of making cookie cutter Marvel movies. Although his Marvel movies are all pretty good. It's set in 1932 in the Mississippi Delta, and it stars Michael B. Jordan playing 2 roles. I've seen some of the other reviewers joke about it as like Michael B. Jordan, Michael C. Jordan. Maybe we could do that. I don't know. He plays Smoke and Stack, I think are their names. Who have just returned to their hometown to be confronted by that supernatural evil. It's got a stacked cast of Haley Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, Miles Kent, Caton, and obviously Michael B. Jordan. And I think with that, it's been a massive theatrical success for an original film.
Mm-hmm.
It's already made, Keanu, $237 million worldwide, which brings it to the 5th highest grossing film of 2025. And keep in mind, that's only like underneath other like IP projects like Minecraft somehow and stuff like that. So what do you have to say about Sinners, Keanu?
I am, first of all, super super happy. I know I've said it before, but I think I can safely say that horror is in fact back, people. Horror's back. um, this is just what happens when you have a great story, a personal story, and you have all these great other elements, the form elements of this form that is cinema that come together and they produce something great. This is just there's no surprise, folk. This, of course, it's great. Of course, there's so much great about it. I think Ryan Coogler pulled a huge move on this after making what was I think it was a pretty good hit back in 2018, Black Panther, of course.
Oh, absolutely. I think that was one of Marvel's highest rated films on Rotten Tomatoes.
One of my more favorable Marvel movies. There aren't many, but that is one, 100%. Yep. And also Creed was also a big hit. Creed's a very heartfelt, very awesome boxing movie. Absolutely. Also starring Michael B. Jordan. And so they've come back, and he's cashed in all this reputation that he's got, and he's
cashed in the chips, right? I've seen other people say that as well. Yeah.
He's come up, he's come up with something pretty damn awesome, and I hold this movie with great praise, and as well as everyone involved in it.
And like, just on that, I think one of the best things about Sinners is you can really see that this is like Ryan Coogler recognizes that this is his shot to make an original film. One of the things that I've noticed about this year is that like Warner Bros. Especially has been greenlighting a few more original films. Like look at what was that? Mickey 17. I don't think we made a podcast about that, but that's original film, strange sort of title, not like banking off an existing IP, even though it is based on a book. It did well, but it wasn't a box office hit. Sinners, on the other hand, obviously was a box office hit. But it's refreshing to see like the studios taking these risks. But this is the thing. Ryan Coogler, he did his time making superhero movies. He managed to do something original with an existing IP of Rocky, and now he's like free from that to make his own original. Creed. I mean, he's free from the IP of Rocky, but yeah, you're right. From making Creed. Yeah. And he's able to make his own original movie, and he's really like he pulls out all the stops because it's clear that like he wants to be able to keep making these sorts of films. At times that does make the movie feel like there are some lingering, like, unresolved plot threads or whatever. And I think it is maybe like a slightly bloated film, but nothing that like detracts from its overall enjoyability. Yeah.
Yeah, I was completely blown away by it because like I think we did hear the buzz about it that it was really good, but like
got a really good word of mouth going early, yeah.
Yeah, how good could it possibly be? It doesn't seem like it seemed like a niche kind of thing. Like only you'd either love it or hate it, and very few people would really love it. But so far from everything I'm hearing, I don't think I've heard a single negative thing about it. It's just like, yeah, it's that good.
No, you're right. It's universal praise. I think, like, look, I will admit Sinners. I mean, everyone's saying they enjoy it, but I don't think it's. There are a few people for whom it's not their favorite film. And I think the reason for that is that, a lot of sort of mainstream theater goers, who aren't like watching the movies to like watch the next Oscars bait sort of movie, are going into this expecting like a slasher horror movie. And then you walk into the movie expecting whatever, right? I went in cold. I hadn't seen the trailer. But then you get 45 minutes of sort of building the setting and like introducing you to the characters. Now, I really enjoyed that. But I think a lot of people, like, I mean, I work at a theater. I've been telling a lot of people to just, stick with it for 45 minutes. Don't get bored because the second and third acts are well worth it. Like, and also I think that first, 40 minutes of character building is really a strength of this film as well, because it explores an era of time which there isn't a lot of media about. Like talking politically, at least, like, slavery in the United States was abolished in the 1860s. But in 1932, when the film is set, it portrays sort of an era of like the in between Jim Crow, where even though slavery is abolished by law and on paper, you see that a lot of the workers of that town are still in a sort of wage slavery where they're being paid with what was it? Like they got paid with credits to the company store and that sort of thing. And like that's why they couldn't pay like Smoke and Stack at the juke joint. And I think it's really nice to see a movie from like, that explores like that's really treading new ground from something that's like completely not completely, but unknown in like the mass media.
Yeah, I do. It's quite mysterious. Like when you like how we compared it to Mickey 17. Just like there's a lot of similarities with it. There's an original story, and they also have like a great cast.
Yeah, a
behind
draw
it.
card main actor. You're right.
Yeah, but why the difference in the hype and the popularity? I haven't seen Mickey 17, so I can't speak much on it. But I'm just curious about why one it did sort of okay and one has done like well beyond expectations.
It's a good
I'm
question.
rather curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can just chalk it up to the marketing because I really enjoyed Mickey 17.
There wasn't
Um,
much marketing with the Sinners, honestly. I didn't see much apart from the the ad, which not the ad, sorry, the trailer.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and there wasn't really anything from the trailer that like really wanted me to go see it. Um,
Just the word of mouth. Like, I mean, Mickey 17
mm.
didn't build up that same
And
word of mouth.
it didn't give away much. That the trailer for Sinners did not give away a lot.
I mean, like, I think from now on we'll go into a little bit more spoiler territory. So consider yourselves warned. Although I think a lot of people have seen this movie by now. I actually didn't know that this movie was a vampire movie going in because I hadn't seen the trailer, and a lot of people were actually pretty not happy that they revealed that in the trailer. Apparently, and I mean, like, don't get me wrong. For me, going to this film cold, I was like blown away that this, like, after 40 minutes of historical fiction turns into like a vampire movie. I loved it. But this goes back to what I said. Actually, you know what? It rings weirdly true with Abigail. It's the same sort of thing where, like, okay, if you know that this is about to become a vampire movie, um, actually, you know what? This is a good point. I think part of the reason I enjoyed this movie so much is about about 20 minutes after the historical fiction where they all try to get sneaked to be inviting into the thing.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
that point, I wasn't like 100% sure that they were vampires. It's just like it's pretty clear, but the movie doesn't like tip its hand until the sort of I think she's a Voodoo practicer says like, oh, they're not hates, they're vampires. And at that point, the penny drops for me. I was like, oh, okay, now I know the rules. And then they did that thing where they ate the garlic and whatnot. But like that, I think I don't know what the balancing act is if you're in a marketing department and you want people to know that it's a vampire film because that gets people in the door. But would the film have had the same critical reception if they didn't put that in the trailer? I don't know if everyone would have come and seen it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And just giving up Abigail because Abigail had that same sort of thing. Like it was a decent movie in my view, and
nowhere near as good as Sinners, but definitely decent. I just want to be clear about that.
But
I'm not comparing them critically.
Yeah, the big critique was definitely the trailer that revealed that the little girl was the vampire, which was like a big pivotal point in the film, but it kind of diluted it because it was revealed earlier. But I feel like that's because that was the most interesting part of the movie.
It was the draw card. No, you're
yeah.
absolutely right. It was the most interesting part of the movie. So that's why they had to put it away. It makes sense. I don't know how you get people to see these sorts of movies without revealing they were a vampire. And this brings me to probably my only critique of the plot of this film. And I don't think this is too much for a spoiler because it happens in the first 5 minutes. So like at the very start of the movie, you see Jack O'Donnell's character, the original vampire, sprinting into the house. He's sort of smoking as the sun comes up, and I think that you can kind of see what's going on. Of course, that makes sense once it's revealed, but you know what I mean. And then he goes into the house. He gets invited in, and then you don't see him for a bit, right? And then these 3 Native American sort of vampire hunters turn up. Do you think that's a fair thing to call them vampire hunters?
Sure, like they do understand what's happening. Like they bring in this sort of like there's like this sort of spiritual quote. I can't remember what they say, but it's like things like God protect you or something. I don't know, something along those lines.
You're right, and I think they also say like if you invited him in, he's not what you seem.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. And then we don't see them again for the rest of the movie. And like this is probably my favorite thing about horror movies is that most horror movies they start off with a hook. Scream starts off with the kill scene, and everyone loves it. Like this movie started off with the vampire tricking his way into the house and being chased by the Native Americans. But since we don't see them later on, this gives me the vibe of Ryan Coogler not wanting to include this in the original draft. Like I've got nothing to back this up, but I could see him like this wasn't in the original draft, and the studio was like, okay, you've got a good movie there, but you can't start off with this 30 minutes of building the character arc. We need a hook for the audience to keep them entertained. And I think the studio was like, come up with something. And Ryan Coogler went, okay, let's do this. And I don't want it to change the plot of the rest of the film. Do you think that's a fair characterization?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing because like there is that it's very clear cut. Like there's a very sweet spot with if I reveal too much, then it disrupts the magic of the movie. But if I don't reveal enough, then there's not really a thing to be invested in the first place. It's just like about finding that balance. And it's very hard to get. And kudos to him for getting it right.
Yeah, no, you're right. And like, I mean, like because he included the Native American vampire hunters, he that opens up the possibility for an ending where like they come back, and then they sort of start hunting the vampires again. But I think that would have rung too much like a Deus Ex Machina more than what actually happens in the film, which I won't spoil. But imagine if they like they turned up in the third act and be like, yeah, now we're gonna hunt these people. Like that wouldn't have worked. It would have felt cheap, I think. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say about the film, or do you want to start talking about like the critical reception?
Let me see here.
Keanu's checking his notes.
Yeah. Usually what not usually. Can't think of an example where this happens, but Ryan Coogler, when he made this film, I think it did even better because it wasn't after anything. It was more of a risk, not like there wasn't an intention to be like, oh, look at me, I'm making something feel like it wasn't an Oscar grab. I think that's the term you used, Oscar grab. It wasn't trying to do that. It wasn't trying to appeal.
I think it will now.
It wasn't trying to appeal to the niche audience. I don't know what the intention was, really. But it's just like, yeah, I'm just blown away. Yeah, I'm rambling right now, but I'm just blown away.
It's actually, it's a good point.
I'm blown away just how well it's done. Yeah. I'm just like, not even like how it's like not that great. It's great. But for what it is, like, it's been a really long time since we've seen a film like this. Like I said, like a wild cut of a movie. It is a real wild cut of a movie that's done this well. Like it's quite refreshing.
Exactly. Like and you know what? You've actually made a really good point about the film not being Oscar bait. Like I actually think this is going to get nominated for Best Picture. I don't know if it'll win, but it's like it is the best rated film of the past 10 years. I think I heard someone say, right? And if this movie gets nominated for Best Picture, I think a lot of comparisons will be made between it and Nosferatu. Now, like, because you and I, we were pretty bullish on Nosferatu's chances at the Oscars, and obviously it didn't come to much. They're both sort of vampire movies, very different vampire movies, mind you. Nosferatu is very gothic. This is sort of a more modern horror movie, not like Twilight vampires. I always compare movies in like three categories. You have old vampires, like the Dracula book. You have modern Twilight vampires, where you've got the vampires as like purely a love interest, and there's not much of a horror element to it. And then you have new scary vampires, where they kind of do things with the genre that they have in the past. And the primary example of that is Abigail. And I think Sinners is pretty firmly in the modern scary vampires category, but it's not like an entirely like the vampires are also sort of love interest. Like Haley Steinfeld's character is a good example of that. Like she has that scene with one of we'll say Michael C. Jordan.
Which one is it?
I forget because it's the same actor, but it's the same with one of them. And like people called Nosferatu like a sort of sexy movie. I can't see that. But this definitely was. And I think it walks that line much better. But yeah, putting all that aside, I think this will have a good run at the Oscars. Maybe, we really hoped that Nosferatu would run where what was that horror movie that won Best Picture? You would know this. The
Best Picture.
Oh, Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, maybe it'll be the first horror movie to win Best Picture since Silence of the Lambs. I could see that.
And yeah, Silence of the Lambs wasn't even that horror much. It was more thriller, definitely more thriller, but there's definitely like horror themes in there. But another thing I'll say about the comparison between Sinners and Nosferatu is that I found that Nosferatu did pretty well in a lot of areas, but one in particular would be this broad exploration of like the nature of evil. It's quite far-reaching, but this, I think
you're cooking. I know what you're.
I think Sinners mines a lot deeper into one sort of theme message, some personal element, which I definitely feel it. It's not really much important as an audience to understand what it is, but I definitely feel that there's something there that's coming like deep from the creator.
And you know what? You're right. Nosferatu, you do get that like good versus evil theme. But I think with Sinners, it's a lot more grey. And I think that's sort of what you were getting at. And like there's a certain point in the film where you get Jack O'Donnell's character talking to the non-converted people inside the clubhouse. And you almost end up rooting for the vampires. Like, I don't know, but I got about halfway through this film, and I think that was like some very deliberate casting, as in like, they made some of the vampires Irish, because obviously, like, historically in the US, Black people and Irish people faced like, I'm not going to say the same struggle, but they faced a similar struggle, like in terms of racism and xenophobia and whatnot, right? And I think the sort of like, because they remember they threatened to go and kill the guy in the organization that definitely is not appropriate for this podcast to say the acronym. And it's a certain point where it's like, okay, I'm tempted by what the vampires are saying now. You know, what was presented to me is, okay, the vampires are the bad guys, and the people inside the juke joint are the good guys, and that organization are also the bad guys. Hang on, maybe we can use some of this supernatural power to go against this political power that the other group has, as a sort of like balancing out mechanism. And then the movie ultimately rejects that, because right as the movie's pretty much ended, you get that amazing scene of Michael B. Jordan, the non-converted one, or maybe the other one doesn't get converted. I'm not going to spoil that, but one of them, makes it through the end of the movie. And he has that scene where all the white people turn up, and he uses his like skills that he's developed in World War I to kill all of them. And he's like, no, I can do both. I don't need to be a vampire to stand for what's right and protect my people. And I thought that was a really good ending.
It's just such a solid movie.
Such a good movie.
Now that I'm like sort of like visualizing through it as it was, I feel like I need to watch it again. Like I need.
Oh, I'd love to. And we didn't get a poster. In an ideal world, the poster would be sitting behind me. That's how much I enjoyed it. Asteroid City, you could have gone, but I didn't get a poster.
You're gone.
Yeah, I think there was a I don't know if she listens to this podcast, but there's one of my colleagues. Her name's Allegra. I was walking out of the poster room and I had this Star Wars poster with me. And I was like, I went in there for the Sinners poster. We didn't have any. And I mean, I had it in like a box. And I don't think she really believed me that we didn't have any Sinners posters. She was like, no, I really want one. I'm like, I promise you, Allegra, we don't have any. If we had any, I would have it, and you could have the other one. But here's, Allegra, if you're listening, here's your proof. There's no poster behind me. I swear to God, on my life, I do not have a Sinners poster.
It's somewhere there.
No, I genuinely, we didn't, as far as I know, we didn't get any Sinners posters at the cinema I work at. But we'll have a look. Okay, I'll have another look, I should say. Okay, talking about the critical reception of on Rotten Tomatoes, what score do you think it's sitting at right now, Keanu?
Sinners is sitting at a
Don't check,
94.
It's actually the critic score, you mean?
Yeah. It's actually Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. So the Tomatoes one is at 98% right now.
Oh, it's close. Okay.
Wow. Which makes it, and like also the audience score is at 97%, and I think those two stats combined has made it the highest rated film in 10 years. Incredible. Like, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that's why I'm just so blown away by it, because like you think, like of all the genres of movies, based on how they've been doing in the last 10, 15 years, especially horror, having, it's probably the genre that beats out the most
at the box office, yeah.
The most trash at the box office, if you say. Yeah. It prints out the most trash. You'd think that it'd be like the least likely thing to come out as an original project and then do this well. So it's like huge leap into, it's a huge spike in the graph. I don't know. That's hence why I'm so stunned by it. Yeah.
The lesson I think here is, listeners of Cinemaniacs, we're about to, you've just learned about this really underground director that none of you have ever heard of called Ryan Coogler, right? We want you to keep an eye on this guy. That's the tip from us. Like, most
keep an eye on that young man.
Most of you probably haven't seen Black Panther or Creed. Like, they're pretty underground films, but like, keep an eye on this guy. He's going places, I think.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But this is the curse now. Like you've brought out a film that's like this original, that's done this well. How do you go along with it?
Where do you go from here? It's true.
The bar's been raised too high, Ryan.
I believe in him. He can make another masterpiece. Anything else to add, Keanu? Or is that about it?
I think I'm out of ammo. I think
that's a pretty good analysis of Sinners. We'll be back after the break, people, with a discussion of a Minecraft movie. See you then, folks.
Chicken joke.
Welcome back to Cinemaniacs, folks. Oh, I have a prop for this. Damn it, where is it? I had a pickaxe somewhere. Whatever.
I think I got the TNT box.
I don't know where the pickaxe. Oh, I do have the TNT box. Let me grab.
I think that's worth a bit of money now, Alex.
I'll be right back. Let me grab the TNT box.
Grab the TNT tin. Yeah.
I also had a pickaxe, but I genuinely don't know what I've done with that.
I reckon those things are reselling for a lot, because I can't find any now.
They were sold out like so quickly, and don't forget, I bought this on opening night.
Mm.
I have a deep affection for this box now. I need to think of a use for it, but maybe I'll put it over here. It's in shot. That'll do.
It's pretty damn cool, yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So okay, Minecraft's all things considered, a pretty, shall we say, crappy movie. There's not much happening on this in the story. We complain a lot about movies for being like overuse of CGI, and Minecraft is definitely guilty of that. But we're not going to sort of beat on this movie artistically too much, I don't think.
Not too much, no.
No, because it's done something, Keanu, that a lot of movies have forgotten to do. I have not been able to do, and that is a genuine grassroots movement of bringing people back to movie theaters, and also bringing young people into movie theaters and having a good time. Like, we can talk about the sort of trends, and I'll get to that. But first of all, I want to hear your thoughts from this movie, Keanu.
Absolutely, yeah. It's done pretty well when it comes to attracting people into the theaters, which unfortunately for some, or for most, has had a negative side effect.
I'm an apologist.
You've all seen it already.
I'm an apologist for this stuff. So I mean, look, you go, but I've got a rebuttal for you.
It's just Minecraft the movie is just ridiculous in every sense, even beyond the film itself. The attention it's brought, the way that people are interacting with it, it's all just ridiculous.
It's genuinely stupid. But like, look,
can't help it, yeah.
a lot of people. Look, I've had to deal with customers who I would say pretty fairly have said they don't feel comfortable being in the cinema with people who are clapping and cheering at every scene. So now I'm going to tell a story and hope actually I'm not going to go too far into it. But on the first night that I was working for this movie when it came out, we had a group of maybe 60 or so boys all come and watch this film, and by all accounts they had a great time. They were clapping at all the applause lines. And this is reminiscent of what's happened everywhere. Like, okay, none of this stuff happened that night. But you've seen clips of people when Steve yells chicken jockey. People throwing popcorn everywhere.
Things go,
People have brought live chickens into movie theaters, for God's sake. Now, I don't know where the line is for that. I don't know where the line is, but I think the line is somewhere between cheering and property damage. Somewhere in there is the line.
Yeah,
now, like,
I think it's gone too far, but I will sort of change my view on it, just then, because you brought something up. While people they're being disturbed trying to watch a movie, it's not really a movie that you have to pay close attention to. It's kind of just.
If you miss a line because someone's cheering,
making fun of it is the best way to treat it. But
exactly.
Again, there are lines you should not cross.
Okay, you shouldn't be breaking things. You shouldn't be though. That's the line. I feel bad for the people that have to clean up after this. I've worked in that sort of job, and it's not fun. But my favorite experiences in movie theaters have always been when the audience is engaged and involved.
Yeah.
And the up until now, the only example I've had of that was when we watched La La Land at the Ritz in Randwick. And at the end of that movie, Keanu, people applauded. And it was a really nice human moment. Even though the director and the actors aren't there, people still clapped to show how much they enjoyed that movie. And I love that. And it's something that I hadn't seen since, And
not on this sort of level, yeah.
Nowhere near this level.
This is going way overboard.
And this goes to why I'm always whinging about the big reclining seats that you see in cinemas these days. Because it kills the energy. Everyone's, reclining back. They're sitting really far apart. No one's sort of on the edge of their seat enjoying the movie. And that's why I love watching movies in old theaters like the Ritz, and I like watching movies in standard cinemas. Because the energy is so much better. And when you get a movie like Minecraft...
I'm about that, yeah.
Yeah, and sorry, one more thing. And when you get a movie like Minecraft, you get everyone on their feet and clapping at all those lines. And you get to laugh along with that. You get to be wow, humans, it's you look up and you see fireworks. Everyone's wow, pretty lights. It's the same kind of vibe. And you know what? Just enjoy the ride. It's not going to happen again for a long time.
Yeah, I totally feel there's definitely a real energy there's a real energy difference when it comes to watching a movie in the cinema with other people and watching a film just by yourself, which I do a lot. There's definitely a different level of attention that you bring to the movie. I mean, when you're watching it with other people and you're all immersed in it, it's just you see more in it. You really, really get it. It's not even just the fact that it's on a bigger screen. It's just that there are other people there. And there's definitely an energy that is emitted. It's interconnected, and you all are invested in it. I remember when we watched Revenge of the Sith when it got re-released. Hence the poster in the back.
We'll have a segment on this, so no crazy spoilers. But yeah, continue.
But like when there's other people there and everyone's enjoying it, and everyone loves it. Every Star Wars fan loves Episode 3, of course. It hits so much harder. We'll get into it later, but like, yeah, I just saw them. I've seen it like 30 times, but I've not like this, and I've definitely it's hit me a whole lot harder.
You're absolutely right. And also, like, look, I think we've all been in that experience of like, you bring home a DVD of a movie you really like, right? And you want to show the people closest to you, like, look, okay, what's an example of that? Oh, you know what's a good example of that? The Holdovers, right? The Holdovers went on Netflix, and I'm like to my family, look, I think we'll all enjoy watching this, right? And I put it on the TV, and it's like the most demoralizing thing in the world when, everyone takes their phones out 5 minutes into the movie. And it's like, come on. But when you're watching a movie in theaters, no one does that. Not many people.
Everybody.
No, yeah. Like,
there are exceptions to everything.
But like the thing is, there's not the same. There's a correct social taboo around checking your phone in a movie theater. And if you do it, most people, good people, will be pretty quick and surreptitious about it. And that means they're watching the film. They're not distracted by their phone. They're not scrolling Netflix. They're not multi-screening while watching a movie. The film gets their undivided attention. And you know what? You notice things you don't like. There was there's scenes like I'm getting into Revenge of the Sith. We'll come back to that. But like it's the same sort of thing with Minecraft. Could you imagine watching that piece of crap movie at home on your tinny sort of TV speakers? Would have been terrible. It would have felt pathetic. But if you watch it on a big screen with the speakers blaring, and when Jack Black goes, first we mine, then we craft, let's Minecraft, and everyone gets up on their feet and starts clapping, you feel like electric.
Yeah, no, whoever buys a Minecraft DVD, just know, you already know, it's not going to be the same.
You can't recapture
it just won't be the same.
It can't be done. It can't be done. No. Do we want to talk a little bit about the plot of the movie?
You know what? I'm not even gonna treat this movie as no. We won't even go that far.
I have a few complaints, but
you've seen the plot before. Yeah. The same structure. We've all seen it. It's in kids' movies all the time. It's been well repeated. Right by the end, as it looks that all hope is lost, it comes swooping out. You all know.
It's true. And like again, you don't watch the movie for the plot, but I mean, like, look, we're a film review podcast. I think I got to just do a little bit on it.
Fine.
You can. You go. Okay, I'll leave some of the dumb stuff for you. But the thing. Okay, hopefully our followers have seen Jumanji. Have you seen the most recent Jumanji movies, Keanu?
Yeah, I know what you got. Yeah.
You've seen the most recent Jumanji with Jack Black? It's the same movie. They get sucked into the fantasy world. They learn the rules of the fantasy world, and then they use it to defeat the big bad of the fantasy world.
Yeah,
that's sort of the same trajectory. And you know what? The film has more than one thing in common in that it also stars Jack Black. The thing I really disliked about this movie is that they didn't do any character work. They're all just sort of stock characters, and the only character that really has an arc is Jack Black. I don't think that's too far of a thing to say. Like I'll talk about one character. And I'll leave the other one for you. The little kid, the younger brother or whatever. I don't remember any of their names. That goes to show. He starts off the movie. He's like, oh, you can't be creative. Creativity's bad. I'm gonna build a jetpack. He builds a perfectly functioning jetpack. So there's no arc, and the jetpack gets sabotaged, and it blows something up. And then at the end of the movie, he builds the jetpack, and it works. Can you tell me where the arc is there? So you're telling me that the arc is, okay, this kid's already smart and talented enough to build a functioning jetpack, and at the end of the movie, nothing changes? What about you? Yeah.
This is the one thing that bothered me especially, is that about the arc, they sort of tried to get the film to travel in not a much deeper, but in sort of a more meaningful direction when it came to that scene when they're in the Woodland Mansion. And the kid looks at the mansion, and he has like these weird visions of the other characters saying, "Oh, you're not good enough," and like you're not creative, whatever. I'm like, the film, it just dipped its toe in this sort of direction, this little like personal thing, like, oh, don't let anybody beat in your creativity. Like they barely touched it. They were going to, like, they
shouldn't have even bothered to bring into a theme. And look,
don't even do that. Yeah. Like that's not where the strength of the film was even at. I mean, people watched it just because it's Minecraft.
Because it's funny. They watched it to see Jack Black be Jack Black and Jason Momoa be Jason Momoa.
But they tried to give it a deeper meaning, but like if they were gonna do it properly, you know, it just came out of
Yeah.
nowhere. There was like a little 2
It
minute
feels
thing, and
it
that's
feels forced. Like, just make it a
Yeah.
meme movie. It still would have gotten as much. And
Yeah.
the other character I really didn't like was I actually I don't know the character's name either, but it's the same actress that plays Enid on Wednesday. Um, she can do so much better than this. Like, I actually feel really bad for her because she doesn't have a lot to do in this movie. She's
Yeah.
kind of just like forced into being like your sort of archetypal stand-in mum for the younger brother, which has been done to death. Like, actually, I really, I feel like this trope has been done before, but I really struggle to think of any good examples from where it had. And the only one that I came up with was a series of unfortunate events where the younger sister's sort of like the stand-in mum for the other ones. And like, it also like, it feels, some parts of this movie feel pretty sexist. Like, the three male characters go off and try and, like, you know, go mining and crafting and fighting monsters and crap. And what are the two woman characters end up doing? They end up talking to some villagers. Like, it just doesn't play well. Like, there was no need. Yeah, there was no need to split them up like that.
When you dig into Minecraft, like, you just can't really, like, it doesn't. Oh man, I can't even do what I start. But the one thing I will say is that because the film focused much on Minecraft, like the world of Minecraft and the things in it, and the things that everyone who knows Minecraft recognizes, and also the audience's interest in just that, like, everything else is just flat. Like, the characters are flat. Surely Jack Black is entertaining. He always is.
Yeah.
But like everything, all the other elements that aren't Minecraft related, when it's like film related, when it's to do with like narrative and character arcs,
Script related.
and anything to do with cinematography.
Yeah.
And there's nothing deeper. Like,
Nothing standouts from this.
But the fact that they even like went to like, could this film really have could have done the same just as well without all those other things? Maybe, maybe not. But like, it's just been done that bad. About the fact that people like try to explore it just ends up, you don't find much in it. In fact, you just find trash.
That's like, look, the thing I worry about this movie is that, like, look, you and me, Keanu, we have such fond memories of it, you know, from watching it in the theater on opening night. But I worry about, like, you know, in 10 years, this is not going to be the movie that I pull out of my DVD cabinet and I'm like, right, I'm going to watch Minecraft with my kids. You know what I mean? Like, like, you know, kids will watch anything, I feel like, but it's not like The Godfather or Citizen Kane. And like, you know, even though I personally have been joking around a bit, like, you know, Citizen Kane, eat your heart out. It's not Citizen Kane. It is absolute cinema, mind you, but it's not Citizen Kane, and that's fine. You know, there's a place for middling movies, and like, there's a place for middling movies and sort of over corporatized marketed movies. And you know what? If we can all, like, you know, have a drink or two and like enjoy it, so be it. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Like, I don't think we should hate this film as much as we do, because like, the film is not really targeting us. I mean, it's not a film for everybody. Like, everyone can watch this film. It's like,
an easy
really
watch
for Minecraft loving kids, and there's so many of them. Hence why the film's done so well. Parents take their kids there, and people go there just for the laughs. But that's what the film was especially targeted for. I don't think the film necessarily wanted to be made fun of, but it's definitely gone that way more than anywhere else.
100%. Okay. Regardless, this is unbelievable. So far, at least this is according to Wikipedia. So this actually might be an outdated statistic. I think it actually did cross the $1 billion mark. But according to this, it's got $874.6 million worldwide, against a budget of $150 million.
Yeah.
Which means that, you know, I think this is a Warner Bros. Film, is already seeing dollar signs in their eyes, and has greenlit a sequel. So we're gonna have a Minecraft movie 2, Minecraft 2 Furious or whatever. And interestingly, this is actually the highest grossing English language movie of the year so far. Only being beaten out by Nuzar, which is obviously a Mandarin film. Very interesting.
Yeah, while the film isn't like great in our view or by our measure, it's done. I think it's done its job. I mean, at the end of the day, this film went out, wanted to make a profit, definitely did.
Yeah.
Regardless of reception, that's what they got. That's what they wanted.
And it turned out to be a cultural phenomenon. And you know what? That's fine. Enjoy it.
Yeah. We can't hate it too much.
Absolutely. And I think we will leave it there, and we'll get on with the discussion of Revenge of the Sith.
Welcome back to Cinemaniacs, folks. So, in this episode, we have touched on the wildcard great, that is Sinners. We've touched on Not so great. Minecraft. Now we're gonna go somewhere that's it's kind of meh. Revenge of the Sith.
Ta-da!
In my view, and I think in a lot of people's views, all the Star Wars fans out there, not all of them, most of them, most of them, most of them.
Most of them.
I think Revenge of the Sith does rank in the top 3 or number 1 spot of Star Wars movies ranked.
Absolutely. And I think it's
I'm one of those people.
easily the strongest of the prequels.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a controversial
yeah,
take.
yeah, easy.
Absolutely one of the strongest of the prequels.
Mm.
Now, we'll try not to tread too much ground on this movie because I think we promised Noah and Alex that we would do a Star Wars Day recording. We've just been pretty delayed in the recording schedule of this podcast. So we will get back and make a full Star Wars episode. But we'll talk about Revenge of the Sith and what the theater experience was like, right? I think that's a good segment. I want to talk about one thing about this movie is that out of all the prequels, it's absolutely the strongest, and it has the least involvement by George Lucas. Is that a coincidence?
In what way? I actually don't know much about that. So he directed it, right? Like he directed all of it?
I have only one source for this. And it was an honest trailer. And they said that is it a coincidence that the best movie in the prequels had the least involvement by George Lucas? Right?
Yeah.
Which makes me think. I think did he write the script for 1 and 2 or something like that? But I think he had I think it is on the record that out of the 3 prequels, this was the one that he didn't touch the most, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it's just a matter of knowing what areas he wasn't really overseeing.
Yeah, well, we'll have to fact check that.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about this movie, Keanu?
Revenge of the Sith is loved. I love it, and it's loved by many because, well, it's I think it illustrates the strongest area of the arc that is Anakin Skywalker's journey from the light to the dark side of the Force. I think it just captures everything about it, jeez.
There's so much there. There's a lot to say. It's true.
Well, yeah, I think, and it's the most memeable as well with all the quotes. I think, Alex and I and our 2 friends were just dying at every Palpatine quote. It was just hilarious.
Which is why I was so sad the cinema was dead silent. It wasn't like Minecraft, and I think people got a tad sick of us. I don't think we were over the top in there, but we were laughing at some of the lines. We
weren't laughing just to look at us, we find it funny.
No. And
we just love it that much. We love it that much.
And it's not like we were yelling out the lines like we've seen. We were genuinely just reacting to the movie. And some people didn't like that. I'm like, okay, why are you here? This movie is funny. Okay. And look, this is the thing I want to talk about most about the prequel trilogy. And I think it is true for this movie. Is that Hayden Christensen got a lot of hate for this back in the day. Got a lot of hate from, our parents' generation, from Gen X and Gen Y, who grew up with the original trilogy, right? And it's kind of nice to me that Gen Z and Gen Alpha have kind of adopted this movie and made it our own. And look, everyone loves Hayden Christensen now. And I think a lot of the lines that he gets made the most fun of, no one could make them sound good. A lot of those examples aren't in this movie. There are a few.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there are a few of those examples in this movie. Don't get me wrong, but I think most of them are in Noah's favorite movie, Attack of the Clones. Name me an actor that can say, "I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere. Everything here is soft and smooth." You think any single actor on this planet could make that sound normal? I don't think it can be done.
A good point. I'm just replaying all the things he says, especially in the exchange on Mustafar with Obi-Wan, with their Chancellor Palpatine is evil and maybe the Jedi are evil.
Overacted, but how else can you play that? I don't think it can be done.
Right, and let's not forget that at the end of the day, I think the Star Wars franchise appeals to younger people, not babies, not toddlers, but certainly to kids aged between maybe 9 to 16, 17.
Which is not to say that it's not people of all ages can't enjoy it. But I'm just again, I don't think we can hold that against Hayden Christensen is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which is why it's kind of nice that he's sort of had a revival recently. Okay. What do we even want to talk about for this movie? There's so much to touch on.
I'm just super urged to just jump right into what's it called? Revenge of the Sith is a tragedy of a movie.
It's a tragedy of Anakin Skywalker.
like every time you watch this movie, like it hits. When you like the people who love Star Wars and love this episode, like the last third of the movie is just heartbreaking because like
You've seen it before. You know where it's going.
I don't know what it is about this movie, and I think a lot of people share the same experience that that part of you just doesn't believe that what's gonna happen is gonna happen. Like a part of you always feels like it's gonna end differently. Like he's not gonna turn. Like he'll fight his he'll let go. Like he'll just let go. He'll stop fighting and he'll just live with. Because I think Padme will. He was gonna lose Padme anyway.
Yeah.
I think, and I think that's what's. Hang on.
Oh,
This is what makes Darth Sidious so bloody evil because he promises Anakin that he can save Padme, but if it wasn't for Padme's death, then Darth Vader wouldn't be the villain that he is.
It's true. It's absolutely
true. That's what gives the Sith strength. Let's not forget.
Is
the
like
anger
emotion and
the
hate
pain.
and, yeah.
If he doesn't lose Padme, he doesn't have that.
Absolutely. 100%. And
the suffering, that's what makes him. So Padme was never going to be saved, which is like even more tragic. Like there was, you know, he was sold the promise of saving her, but it was inevitable. But he got the worst end of that stick anyway.
Absolutely. And you know what though? A lot of people say that. But you know what? I take solace in the knowledge that if Anakin Skywalker had somehow come out of this film having killed Sidious or whatever, or Mace Windu had actually stabbed him, we never would have had the original trilogy. And those are movies that are universally beloved, at the very least 4 and 5. Okay, sure, Anakin Skywalker survives 3 and makes it out. It ruins like some of it ruins the best villain in history, possibly. And 2, it ruins like the follow-up story of what might be one of the best trilogies of all time. But this touches on like, I have to make everything political. There are people that are like, oh, the prequels are too political. And George Lucas has done interviews like, oh, when was Star Wars so political? And he always says 1977. It was political from the get-go. He was making this movie in the context of the Vietnam War, of, a small group fighting off an empire. I don't know. Maybe some of that rings a bit true. Funny that. And, 1, 2, and 3 about the rise of a dictatorship. He said that was inspired by, no German politics. I won't say the party name for fear of being demonetized. That was obviously the inspiration for that. But I think a lot of people recently have come back to these movies and have seen, hang on, some of the things that the current US president are doing are sort of within that same authoritarian playbook. Taking power from the legislature, from the Senate, emergency powers, trying to extend his, what does he say? Oh, who has managed to stay in his term long after his term has expired. I don't know. I think that is a timeless message.
What are you saying, George?
It should be heeded. And you know what? It takes that message that should have been learned throughout history from, the events of the 1930s and 40s and brings it to an audience of future decision makers who grew up with Star Wars. And that's something I really respect. And I've said this a million times. Art cannot be divorced from politics entirely. Because if it is a bias to conservatives and to the status quo.
Yeah. I think that does speak on the greatness of Star Wars that's like beyond recognition. I mean, Star Wars as a franchise as a whole, and this movie included especially, it's a movie that can be enjoyed and that can engage people on all kinds of levels. On a political level, on a thematic level, and on a story-based level. I mean, just like there's so much to,
and even on like a romance level.
That's on the greatness of it. The romance and the good and evil and the
there's so much in this movie.
So many layers, and they're all done on a pretty damn high level. Yeah. To get to the sequels.
We'll leave the discussion of the sequels for Alex and Noah because we've had that discussion a million times, and we all have our own opinions about that. And like one of the things that I worry about with Star Wars is that like movies like this are so universally beloved, right? Whenever they make a movie these days, there are always going to people that don't like it. There will always be people that don't like it because it destroyed their childhood. And like that's why I'm so like we can't make it so hard for the studios to go and make movies like these because then otherwise they won't take risks. If we do that, then we end up with just like shameless fan service. And you know what? I don't think Star Wars 1, 2, and 3 were fan service. Oh, actually, 1 definitely was. But 2 and 3, I think, have like some pretty serious messaging in there.
Yeah, those 6 episodes, it's just all those locked in together. That just creates a beautiful circle of the whole story of Anakin's story and of everyone else's arc. the end of the end. Yeah, it's just a good. I wish I wish. You know what? Congrats to the people who passed away. Unfortunately, sorry, passed away in 2005. All the Star Wars fans that died that year,
Who never had to see what they
know
did with it.
comfortably that there was only 6 episodes.
But they would have missed out on the Clone Wars, Keanu.
Perfect.
They
No,
never would have seen
perfect
the
circle.
Clone Wars.
Perfect
The Clone Wars
circle.
are so
No,
good.
Fine, perfect circle.
Okay.
I could have done. That's fine.
Okay. So one thing I do want to talk about is the experience of watching this in a theater. I made sure we did not watch this in 4DX. I don't think I would have enjoyed it.
No.
We watched it in a VMAX theater with big screen, great audio, and you know what? We were engaged. I know Noah and Alex were sort of memeing when they did that, but sometimes I'd look over and they would literally be on the edge of their seat doing this.
Especially the end. No,
Especially the end. And like watching it on the big screen allows you to notice things you've never seen, you've never noticed about movies before. There's this, like, I've seen this movie 1,000 times, and in that one, like, they don't say a word, obviously, but Anakin's looking over at the Senate, and Padme's looking over at the Jedi Temple, and like they both sort of know what the other one's doing. And I brought a tear to my eye. I'd never noticed that scene before. I never noticed that messaging.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like it'll hit every single time, but I think, especially seeing it in cinema, it just hit even more, just because like the amplification of everything, of how you're seeing it. Yeah, I'm thinking back, and the ending, it just hits every time, man.
Of course. And like,
so good.
You know what else? Like,
How can you hate Star Wars?
I never thought I would be able to like go into a theater and like see the Star Wars logo, and the title crawl with that amazing opening score play in the theater again. I thought after Star Wars 9 that would be it, and then like you get into the theater and it goes like chills. I still get chills, and it's.
Right. Can we also talk about? Can we just mention John Williams, the genius? I mean,
the Mozart of our time.
How many great scores? Not just in. Let's forget the however many movies he's freaking brought to life with his music.
Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park,
like
you name it,
everything.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. You've got Anakin's betrayal. You've got
all of the Fates.
Do you have Across the Stars? Is Across the Stars in there?
Yeah, no, it plays right at the end. When he gives the Luke to the parents on Tatooine.
Oh, that, and you've got Anakin vs. Obi-Wan. You've got this opening, which is I don't know what it's called, but it's so damn grand.
Yeah, I think it's just called the main title. I something like that.
But especially Anakin's betrayal. I mean, listening to that. I mean, yeah, it encapsulates that perfectly. I mean,
what is Star Wars without John Williams? Like,
that's what I mean.
Like the sort of like it's used in sci-fi so much, but it's for good reason. Like that big orchestral with all that brass, and it's
so much more than just like capturing the action. Like there's so much more depth in the emotion of it. I mean, John Williams.
I think my favorite thing about like the score of this movie is that they don't play the Imperial March until pretty close to the end. You know what I mean? And then when they put the helmet on Darth Vader, you hear the Imperial March fully, like the dun 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 dun, dun. And again, you get chills. It's incredible. Yeah, and then like it's got all the memeable lines as well. Like
there's so much to love. Like you can't hate this
where the fun begins.
Can't.
Yeah, this is where the fun begins. Oh, we get hello there. What would Star Wars be without Obi-Wan jumping down for that, being like, hello there?
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You can't set in stone the things that make a good movie. Like you think, good dialogue makes a good movie. All these other things make a good movie. Like, not necessarily, because Star Wars Episode 3, or just Star Wars in general,
so many things, but it is
where would Star Wars be without a little bit of cringy lines? Okay,
absolutely.
Where would it be about a bit of George Lucas dialogue? Where would it be? Is this what it
got a bad feeling about this? Like,
it wouldn't be.
Yeah, you're right. We need it. We need it. But can I actually say one thing about this movie? Like this I don't know why, but this makes me so happy, Keanu. When Anakin goes onto General Grievous's ship, right? Remember, this takes place after this takes place after the Clone Wars series. What does Anakin say to General Grievous? General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected. And because of that one throwaway line that George Lucas probably didn't even give a second thought to, the writers of the Clone Wars had to make sure that Anakin never met General Grievous for those entire 6 or 7 seasons of television. And like that just makes me so happy. Just one line. It would have been so easy to retcon too, Marvel does that all the time. Like, I remember Marvel made a mistake, and they were like, oh, but, the TVA made a mistake, so that's why there was a continuity error there. You don't get that in Star Wars. In Star Wars, they just write around it and twist and turn and make sure that Anakin never meets General Grievous, and I love that.
One line, and people would have definitely caught on to that, because the amount of things that people catch on to with this franchise, you can't hide from the audience. They'll dig and they'll find anything they're looking for.
And it's just it just brings me okay, imagine all the writers' rooms of the Clone Wars, right? And someone probably raised their hand and was like, "Oh my god, what if Anakin had this epic battle with General Grievous at this point? It would have been a great capstone to this arc." And I'm like, "Wait, no, we can't do that. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, guys, ignore me."
We can't though. Yeah.
And I had to keep running around it. And it's a testament to creativity that they managed to do it, and I really respect that. I do.
That one line.
Yeah. Wow. Changed so many people's lives just to throw away.
General Grievous, you're shorter than I expected.
What,
7 words.
7 words.
I think
that's insane. Yeah. So if you guys get a chance, rewatch this movie. I know it's everyone's favorite one to rewatch out of the Star Wars movies, but I think worth your time. Absolutely.
Yeah. And definitely forget everything that people can dislike about this movie. You can't you can't critique the arc that is Anakin Skywalker. You just can't, that is just from early childhood and all the promise around him, this young man who's to lead the way and restore balance into the galaxy, restore peace, bring peace and keep it cemented, and have that great fall and also a bit of resurgence at the end. It's just lovely.
It's a perfect arc.
It's a lovely journey.
And it unlike the sequels, which I think cheapen Anakin's arc, as I'm sure a lot of people have said.
Everything these damn
it does. They
do.
They make 1 to 6 worse. I seriously think 1 to 3 make 4, 5, and 6 better, because you know the story of how Luke got to Tatooine, and you know the tragedy of what Anakin lost, and that's what Star Wars is all about. It's the fall of Anakin Skywalker and his eventual redemption. And I think this is where that story really gets cooking. Anything else to add, Keanu?
That's it. I mean, yeah, there's so many good movies, man. There's so much to enjoy. There's so much to love about these movies.
Life's good. Movies. Go watch movies, go on hikes, go do stuff. Life's good.
Love movies.
We'll be back after the break for our final segment of the day. See you later, folks. Welcome back to Cinemaniacs, folks, for our final segment of what has been a really enjoyable recording. I've really had a good time, Keanu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. For the Hall of Fame, Keanu, what will you be adding?
The Hall of Fame. You know what? I haven't thought too deep into this. I've just looked at it for what it is. It was a great movie. It's certainly decimated expectations. We mentioned it earlier in this episode. It's Sinners. I'm just going to cut to it. Sinners. Sinners goes in.
100%.
Sinners in.
It deserves to be up with the greats. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And my pick for the Hall of Fame, your collection of movies that you need to go watch, is Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. It's not Citizen Kane, but it's definitely worth your time.
We can't chuck them all in at once, so we'll take it as we go.
We'll feed
episode
in
3 for now.
Episode
3, we'll kick off. We'll kick off with the banger.
Absolutely. All right. And now, Keanu, it's time for the movie quote quiz. Each week, I will be giving you a quote from a movie. This time, you'll know the franchise that it's from, but you still need to tell me the movie and who said it. I think I'm not even going to keep track of your record anymore. I've completely forgotten. Okay, your quote for this week, Keanu. It is from a Star Wars movie. That is your clue. You need to tell me who said it and which movie it's from, ideally.
I better get this wrong. I mean,
you got this
wrong.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. That is your quote.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, now we're good. That is Darth Vader.
Yes, in
A New Hope?
Yes, it's in A New Hope.
Well, okay. Well,
you scared me for a second there. There's no way you didn't.
I haven't seen the original trilogy in so long. I mean, yeah.
I only rewatch the original trilogy and this one. The only ones that I rewatch are 3, 4, and 5. I never rewatch 6. All right. And now I just thought we could just share our favorite quote from the Minecraft movie, because a lot of people liked that so much.
You first?
Okay, I'll go first. My favorite quote from the Minecraft movie. I got an honorable mention to the Steve's Lava Chicken song, because I did not know the movie was going to be a musical. And then I just sat in there, I'm like, oh my God, Jack Black is singing Absolute Cinema. And you know what? That
Lord.
spawned the Alex Absolute Cinema meme. So, you know what? Credit to that. Steve's love the chicken. Yeah, it's tasty as hell. Yep, 10 out of 10. But the quote that I'm adding that I loved most from that movie was, first we mine, then we craft. Let's Minecraft. 10 out of 10, no notes.
Roll credits right there.
Yep. You're up, Keanu. What's your quote?
This one's just, I just love it. So, yeah, let's kick it off. I'm showing my best Jack Black voice. Slime cube. Slime cube.
That's awesome. Slime cube. That was actually a really good Jack Black impression. And you know what? The memes, like, I gotta go back to it. Like, the one that got me was the minimum wage cinema worker looking at me after I yell an ender pearl and throw a brick at a child. So, like, oh my god, it's so good.
That is an ender pearl.
Or the nether as I jump through the cinema screen. Like, it just doesn't get better than that. All right, I'm yapping now. I can't get back into the Minecraft thing. Okay. Anything else, Keanu? You got a message for the audience?
Yes. If you haven't yet, watch Sinners. If you haven't yet, watch Minecraft. Okay, watch Minecraft. Is it still out? Is Sinners still out?
I think it is still out. Yes.
Why you still can?
It's still out. Before you lose the opportunity, it's now.
And if episode 3 of Star Wars is still out,
it's not.
Definitely watch that. And you haven't.
No. You're not gonna believe this. Disney pulled it. Disney pulled it before May 4th because they didn't want it to compete with Thunderbolts.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait for the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
So if you ever have the opportunity to watch it in cinema, absolutely. But if not, you'll find a way to watch it
at home. Absolutely.
It's so worth it. The whole Star Wars franchise, you got to watch it. I mean, it is. Do I say it? Do I say it is? I think it is. I think, despite everything wrong with it, despite the prequels and despite all this other kerfuffle, I think it is the best movie franchise.
I think
of all time.
I think I actually agree with you. It is the best franchise of all time. All right. Thank you all for listening to the Cinemaniacs Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Alex and Keanu. It has been a long break. We'll try and bring you some more regular uploads. We're both very busy, but we like doing this and we want to keep it going for you. Stay safe. Give us 5 stars Apple Podcasts, comments on our Instagram. Just keep us engaged. We like making these. We want to keep doing it for you. Have a great rest of your good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. Goodbye.
See y'all.
See ya.